Spy X Family episode 14, I think, is one of the best episodes that we've had yet, really combining pretty much everything you need that you get from Spy X Family into one episode. They got the drama, the comedy, the suspense, a little bit of a statement. we had a little bit of a kids these days moment in this episode, but yes, let's jump into this episode. Open up things, we get a aftermath of the situation with Yor saving Anya, and a follow-up statement to the Anya is not ready to get married yet. I only got married this year. Yor is great. Yor is great. But no, what kind of follows this up is having Yor trying to report to the police that this incident happened and there's something happening, which is cool to kind of get that connection between what Yor is doing and what Lloyd is doing at the current time, is all the information that she's divulging to them is eventually getting over to the hands of Wise. But no, this is where we finally get kind of a sense of the dynamic between Anya and this dog, which I think is fantastic. Again, I was assuming it was going to be a thing where Anya gets vision of future and then has to tell somebody. The obvious choice there was that Anya was going to have to work on her own alongside the dog. And what we're basically getting is Back to the Future moment. Get a little Back to the Future reference here, having this whole picture of Anya, Yor, and Lloyd, but then suddenly it changes to Lloyd being gone and the both of them being upset, which obviously indicates that something happens to Lloyd. But not only that, but getting an actual full-on picture of her arriving at this location and finding Lloyd covered in rubble, indicating that he is going to die at this time. Also getting an image of something to reference, which is this bell tower. So yeah, like I said, the obvious choice here is that Anya's gonna have to work on her own. She's gonna have to mount up on the dog and go fix the situation herself, which I thought was, again, getting into the really cute humor that we get from Anya, her trying to figure out, okay, what was the hands on the bell tower? What does that mean? How long is that away? Wait, what's 30 minutes? Doing this whole thing with her arms, trying to figure it out, and then eventually having to ask some old man. Was super cute. But yes, also technically her going in there to this location where the bomb's at and trying to figure out how to get rid of the situation. Having the dog there always to kind of help her out, stop her from doing something that she shouldn't do. But yes, applying all of her secret information she gets from the spy shows to how to disarm a bomb. Which was funny because when she first started talking about it, I'm like, wait, they're all going to be black. And sure enough, they're all the wires are black, so she doesn't know which one's to cut, leading her to have to basically leave a message with the ketchup. Which again, I thought all that stuff was really fantastic, really cute, watching Anya really fighting to save somebody, and obviously it also plays in the aspect of that she doesn't want the war to start up. Her whole purpose, again, if we could recall way back to the very beginning when we first started getting insights to how she was at this lab, the mission that she was given by the people that were taking care of her was that she needed to prevent war. Like, that was the whole reason she was raised, and that's why she has what she has, is to prevent war. Which again, I liked that we finally got that kind of reintroduced into the storyline, not just, passing comments, but actually hitting heavy on this idea that Anya does not want this war to happen. And yes, part of that vision was that because this explosion happened, war was unavoidable. So super cute to see Anya, again, really trying to protect what she loves so much, this new life that she has that she doesn't want to see shattered. But yes, of course, on the other side of the whole thing, we see Sylvia and Lloyd working behind the scenes, trying to prevent things from the perspective of Wise. And yes, capturing the bad guys. Oof, this was a heavy scene, honestly, a very, very heavy scene with Sylvia really pushing heavy on her perspective of the war itself. Which, yes, we've already kind of seen quite a bit out of Lloyd. Again, from Lloyd's perspective, he doesn't want to see any other children experience what he experienced. Sitting alone, abandoned in the middle of the street, surrounded by rubble that the war causes. He doesn't want that to happen to anybody else. And from Sylvia's perspective, which Lloyd agrees to, again, we have our children these days moment. Sylvia comes up to all these college students that are yelling about, yes, Estonia forever, reclaim the pride of Estonia, we need war, we need a war, we need a war. And Sylvia basically spells it out for them. Have you ever killed anybody? No, of course I haven't killed anybody. And then proceeding to kind of hit on every tragedy that she's experienced with the war. Somebody going out to fight that that ends up losing themselves. Seeing the other side is not even human. What do you think about your burning flesh on the wall? Being so starved that you're chewing on bark. And yes, being driven to the point where you even have to boil flesh itself. This is Sylvia's driving force. She does not want this war to happen. She wants to keep peace because she's experienced all these tragedies that the war itself provided. And again, it kind of bookends it with, you stupid children, your college isn't even teaching you anything. Have you learned nothing but from history? And again, quite a statement. It is definitely hitting heavy on a statement here. Is this? I never like to claim that mangakas or source material writers are trying to make statements unless they specifically say they're making a statement. In this world, Sylvia experienced tragedies of war, and she doesn't want to see it happen again. And so her assumption here is that whatever school these guys are going to isn't either properly teaching or not teaching at all what has happened in the past, which can technically be a product of the Astania. This could be painting a picture that the Astania side of things isn't teaching history at all, which I'll be curious to see if they actually get into it later on, because I think that's actually a really crucial thing here. If Astania is going out of their way to cover up the tragedies of war itself, it thus means that the overall Astania wants to promote the idea of doing it. Yes, technically they've been hitting on quite a while now, is that from the very beginning, these two sides are just kind of waiting. Like it's an eventuality. It makes it seem like an eventuality that war will begin again. Like there are political figures on both sides that want to see it happen. But it's sort of indicating that it's more of a problem in Astania, because that's why they have this whole Operation Strix, obviously. Because they feel like there's a lot of political leaders and stuff that are trying to push this war. So honestly, what better people to have involved with that project to stop the war than people who know firsthand the tragedies of it. And I think, again, today we've pretty much had it plainly spelled out that Sylvia does not want this, and that she's experienced some really screwed up stuff. That was super heartbreaking to hear her story. And again, like I said earlier, Lloyd agrees. Like she says, do everything you possibly can to stop this project from happening, indicating, yes, even sacrifice yourself. If you have to jump on that dog, do it. Because Lloyd agrees with Sylvia. Agree with everything she said. This cannot happen. I think I said it before in probably my review of the series, but that's kind of what I've always loved about the show. When it wants to get heavy, it'll get heavy. When it wants to get comedic, it gets comedic. If it wants to get slice of life, it gets slice of life. Shenanigans, it's doing a really good job of balancing that stuff. When Sylvia speaks up, it was super heavy, but it doesn't stay in it too long. It kind of continues, and the transitions are really fantastic. It didn't feel jarring going from that scene to the next scene, which I think is really well done. But yes, this is where we cut to Lloyd in action. I knew the moment that they showed this minister guy in this building, and they had the secret police outside. He's talking about how Wise is not doing their job properly, but then that's when Lloyd walks in, and I'm like, yep, he's going to disguise himself as a minister, and sure enough, leaves. The minister's left behind with nothing but his underwear. Sylvia's like, just go. Don't make us look bad by leaving without any clothes. But yes, Lloyd leaves. This Keith guy chases after him with the bomb dog. And like eventually gets to this point where the dog's chasing after Lloyd, and he's jumping over so much stuff, and Keith's having to keep up with this car, and he's like, who the heck is this minister of the West? This dude's like 60 years old, and he's jumping around like a trapeze artist. It was so good. But yeah, that all leads to the dog jumping after Lloyd and him pulling his disguise and pointing. I don't know if they're going to take out the dog. I think every single time they showed him, I was kind of fearful of that. I guess the only thing that can kind of save the situation is that we still technically have Anya out there with the dog. Possibly they can stop him, or Yor just jumps out of nowhere and kicks him or something like that. I don't know. I don't think Yor's going to show up, but at the same time, people get really touchy about dogs getting shot. I don't want the dog to get shot because I know the dog's just working for his master. And that's the only thing that kind of makes it sucky is, the dogs are trained that way. They don't know better. They're just doing what they're told to do. And we've seen so many times where this dog literally just does not want to get involved with situations. Like going up, seeing Yor growling at him and him running away. And yeah, it seemed like it was hesitant when it first noticed that Anya was there with the other dog. It seemed like it knew. And I was assuming that he was going to be like in his own mind, remembering what happened with the last time he smelled that smell, and then Yor showed up and scared him away. I figured he was hesitant because of that. But yeah, either way, absolutely fantastic episode. It really does feel like, at least with the next episode, things are going to wrap up with this particular arc, but it was a lot of good stuff in here, and again, probably easily one of the best episodes of Spy X Family pretty much yet. I think the only thing that kind of ups this episode was easily our first introduction to Henry and the first trial of the Academy when they first came in. That episode was just amazing. Anya was fantastic. I think she did a fantastic job despite really not knowing what to do, but figuring out something to do. And I'm curious if we're going to have you so know what's going to happen now is that Lloyd's going to be talking about this other this other part. That's what's going to happen. I believe what's going to happen going forward is you're going to have Anya seeing these futures from the dog. She's going to be working on the side to resolve situations. And the entire time, Wise is going to be thinking there's some secret agent, possibly with Ostania or something, that's working behind the scenes to stop things. You're going to have Lloyd at some point say, this person left a message with ketchup. So obviously there's somebody else. And they're going to probably give them a name. Like, it's going to be like the eggplant person or something like that. You totally know that's going to happen. But anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 14 of Spy X Family. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. A special shout out to Laurent, who sent in a nice tip. I really appreciate the support, and I hope to continue to bring you great content in the future. And with that said, y'all take care.